Alrighty, so this is Diesel We the People News once again. Alright. This is actually one of my favorite journalists. Alrighty, Susan Bassey. Alright. Subscribe to her, okay? She calls it out like it is and all that kind of good stuff. And, this video is without prejudice and or without recourse. Okay, I'm not an attorney, so if I say anything, it's my opinion, not legal advice. Okay? I never look just straight forward. I always look around me to be able to protect myself by any means necessary. Alright, we're just going to kind of go off with this because she has everything under control.
Right here, so you can tell me what I asked you. It's being recorded. I'm the one. I'm recording you. Yeah.
This is Susan Bassey, and 4 years ago I was sitting in a Sacramento courtroom watching a taxpayer lawsuit where an attorney was arguing that the California Attorney General was failing to do his job when it came to prosecuting judges who commit crimes. I met the cop watchers that day, and they've taught us how police incite conflicts when they're called to the streets.
Now, the cop watcher she's actually talking about, believe it or not, a few years ago, was San Joaquin.
And this was an incident that I watched where there were no police officers, there were no guns, and there were no badges, and the incident resolved with a handshake and it was over. Police officers these days are very much like lawyers inciting conflicts in legal cases, and lawyers can be privately paid to be judges, and judges are being allowed to commit crimes that include bribery, public corruption crimes, and other crimes that do serious harm to the public where they are never prosecuted. In fact, in California, we haven't seen a judge prosecuted in Santa Clara County for over 20 years. The last judge was prosecuted for case rigging traffic court tickets, and his name was Judge William Dancer. His wife, Catherine Gallagher, is now a private judge. And so we continue to look at what's going on in our courts and how it affects families and how lawyers incite conflict to make more money, just like police officers are inciting conflict on their streets. We're watching the judges, and I thought I would take a diversion program that I was ordered into in a criminal case related to the police officer breaking my finger and seizing my phone without a warrant, because I was prosecuted in that case rather than the police officer. And as part of my diversion project, I'm trying to explain what's going on in family courts and how judges misbehaving, police officers not doing their job and following their training, and lawyers being allowed to commit crimes with impunity impacts all of us. I'm out at Tesla in Silicon Valley, and we're going to be talking about Elon Musk's divorce and custody case. This gives us an opportunity to talk about California's blue laws. Those are laws that are on the books that are against public policy. And one of the blue laws requires that children going through family court cases with their parents are treated differently if those parents are married or unmarried.
We have a blue law that says that children are treated differently when you go to family court if your parents are married or not married. We're going to talk about that. My name is Susan Bassey, and I'm trying to teach everybody about family court, and we're going to cover Elon Musk's divorce and custody case.
Family Code Section 7643 of California's Uniform Parentage Act requires that all papers and filings in a family law case where the parents are not married are confidential and only visible to the parties, the experts, the lawyers, and the judge. I'm going to say that one more time. California has a blue law that requires children going through the family court to be treated differently if their parents are married or unmarried. And those laws apply even if their parents are involved in a private judging case. When a divorce or parentage case is filed in the state of California, families give the government the right to oversee every aspect of their lives, from their financial decisions related to child support and custody to how you get to see your children, including whether or not you'll have to pay a paid supervisor who is not licensed but who watches every move that you make. And in a divorce case, everybody gets to read the files and sit through the court proceedings. But in a custody case, a judge has the discretion to close the courtroom so the public can't see what's going on. I'm out at Santana Row in Silicon Valley, and I just noticed a mom and her son sitting, playing on their phone, and they're right here over my shoulder. And they're speaking a language that's an Asian language. I'm not sure if it's Chinese or not, but it reminded me of Diana Dong. And Diana Dong was in a divorce case with Oliver Garibay. And Oliver Garibay was the stepson of Sean Connery, 007. And during their divorce case, the court appointed Heather Allen as a minors counsel for her children. And I was in court one time where Judge Towery came out instead of Judge Grilly and frowned at Diana and said, "You look vexatious to me." And that hearing was about whether or not Diana had to speak in English to her children instead of Chinese, which was her native language. And it was also about her being not allowed to attend her daughter's graduation and talk to any of the other parents. And there were a host of other things, including not being allowed to FaceTime or take her children to China, while Sean Connery's stepson was allowed to take the children to France. Few people understand that the filing of a divorce or a custody case is similar to talking to police. It gives the government jurisdiction over you and your children. They can tell you how much you have to pay in the way of child support, where you can take your children on vacation, and how much you have to work to support them. This is Heather Allen. She is a divorce lawyer who is regularly appointed in divorce and custody cases. And I've watched her make a number of orders that many people would question whether or not they were lawful. But Heather Allen, by court appointment, once she is representing children in their parents' divorce case, has immunity, just like police officers have a qualified immunity for what they do on the streets. And until people understand that court-appointed experts, lawyers, and judges have immunity, they don't understand what they can do. Because Diana's case was a divorce case, we were able to see all the public files and the pleadings of the attorneys. We were able to see them and how much money they were paid. We were also able to see the letters that her children wrote to the judge saying that the minors' counsel, Heather Allen, who had been appointed, wasn't doing her job and was lying to the court about their wishes. We were able to see that Diana was ordered to pay her husband's attorney, Brad Baugh, $100,000, and we were able to follow that case all the way up to the Court of Appeal, where we knew the names and we knew the issues, and we knew that the Court of Appeal said that Diana simply had not followed the correct procedure and therefore would have to pay the $100,000 to her husband's attorney. Had Diana been involved in a custody case instead of a divorce, we wouldn't have been able to see the files. We wouldn't have been able to see the attorneys who are wrapped in their immunity and the conflicts that they have that they often fail to disclose. We wouldn't have been able to watch the conduct of the judge, because in a custody case, in addition to the papers being secreted from the public, the judge has the ability to close the courtroom and lock all the conflicts, the issues, the sanctions, and the orders inside that courtroom where the public has no oversight. California is a community property state. That means that the public has a right to oversee these proceedings and assure that the laws are being properly applied, because the public has an interest in the equal division or equitable division of community property. They also have a right to oversee that children are not being sent to live in abusive households and that they are adequately supported the way that parents can afford to support them. So when custody cases are slid into secret proceedings, or when wealthy people try to use private judging to cover up issues in their divorce case, that's contrary to public policy. And just as police have been overfunded in California over the last 20 years, Silicon Valley wealth has poured into the pockets of attorneys who incite conflict and drag divorce cases out for 5 to 10 years, when these cases used to take 1 to 2 years to resolve. And because California is a no-fault state, it doesn't matter if people have cheated on their spouse in the bedroom. They just simply aren't allowed to cheat when it comes to the equitable division of community property.
Hey guys, want to talk about the lotto case?
Thank you.
Do you know what the lotto case is?
No.
It's a case where a woman won the lottery and then left her husband and didn't tell him. And he didn't find out that she got all kinds of millions of dollars and just thought they were poor and they got divorced.
California is both a community property state and a no-fault state. That means the law doesn't care what you do to each other when it comes to cheating in the bedroom, but when it comes to cheating the community estate and concealing information, such as Denise Rossi did when she won the lottery and didn't tell her husband, the court says that's against the law and against public policy.
She tried to cheat him and he got it all. That's called the lotto case. So Elon Musk is in the middle of a divorce and custody cases. Did you know that? So guess what I do? I audit family court cases in Silicon Valley.
Okay, so to recap, this here, where we're at, is a public court, Superior Court of California, County of Santa Fe. And this case was filed here in the public courthouse.
Sergey Brin filed this case here, and the public has a right to oversee divorce cases. These are public files. They also have a small child who is about 3 years old, and the public has a right to oversee issues related to that child's safety and support. So there have been news reports that they have put this case into arbitration and that we can't see it. Reporters don't know how to read these files, and we're going to teach them because it is too important. It is too important to show how cases are being moved from public court into private judging, where the payment to these private judges is not publicly disclosed, and where the conflicts of interest result in people receiving unfair judgment.
I got a lot of calls this week about different cases in Silicon Valley. And so what I've decided I'm going to do, so that I don't lose my mind over you guys losing your mind, is I'm going to go out on Friday night. I'm going to social distance, so nobody gets paranoid. And I'm going to ask people questions about what they know. Because what we're seeing happening in Silicon Valley's family courts is going to shock some people. And then when we look at the case law, we look at what the judges are getting away with, and we look at what the lawyers are doing, and then we consider private judging, and we consider secret courts and secret children. We got to do something about that. So if I have to stand out here for the rest of my life talking about it to keep people from getting into family court, that's what I'm going to do. And if I have to do this for the rest of my life, talking about it so that not one more lawyer will ever be a private judge without making their disclosures and providing people a fair divorce when they're getting paid to do it, then that's what I'm going to do. That was a really big botch. I was out here and I was doing those interviews and I was getting all excited about what people knew and didn't know about California's blue laws, but I left my backpack. That's bad, guys. I'm out at Tesla in Silicon Valley, and I got to tell you something funny. I got really excited because I was getting to explain California's blue laws to everybody going by, and we were talking about Elon Musk's divorce, custody cases, child support, and Twitter war, and I forgot my backpack. So I ran down here because you know all the things on the news about the break-ins and backpack stealing, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be gone. This is Silicon Valley, and I'm at Tesla. Guess where the backpack is? I just left my backpack there and walked across the street, and it's still there. This is Silicon Valley, guys. They're not stealing backpacks at the Tesla electrical cars. I'm going to say that one more time. They're not stealing backpacks at the Tesla electrical cars.
Anywho, there's Susan Bassey, y'all. Real journalists. Not Fox News, not CNN, not NBC, and NBC, all the other crap. Alright? This is Diesel with People News. Till next time. Bye, y'all.